¿Qué onda, Raider Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Raider Nation's Weekly Wire. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not being able to record last week, but both Chris and myself, we were extremely busy getting ready for the home opener because, we went up there, partied it up, had a good times, and we hosted an event up there at Tap and Ash, which was a great event. We'll talk about it later. But so we were busy. We apologize, but we're back. And from this point on, we're going to try something new. We're going to try and make more of a condensed show. We're going to try and keep it within 30 minutes or around the ballpark. But aside from all that, we're still going to bring you the fire information. We're going to be picking Chris's brain and talking about Raider ball. So with no other delay, I'd like to say hello to my brother, Chris from Protect the Shield. My brother, how you doing?
Good, man. Felt like I just left you, man.
Right?
Like I just left you. So first of all, man, just want to say, thank you for, giving me opportunity to hang with you, along with the war room. Had a blast. The event that we put on at Tap and Ash was a blast, and just hanging out with Raider Nation, this Raider thing, man, it's not, we're family. We're
Yes.
truly family. So,
Yes, we
we'll
are.
start off just saying that, man. So, I appreciate your fellowship and your friendship for sure.
Of course, brother. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I know money is an issue, but whenever we can, we try to enjoy ourselves, even if it does cost us a little bit, but it was well worth it. The whole weekend, I think, was well worth it. From Friday, hanging out with Turf, hanging out with you, with Chef. Saturday, Tap and Ash, and, everything else that we did. Sunday, you guys were at West, what was that casino? The Westmont? Skate. There you go.
Yeah, Westgate. Yep.
Games. I had hung out with Loon. Shout out Loon.
Yeah.
Thanks for the pool party, brother.
Party. Yeah.
So there was a lot of events going on. So it was definitely worth the time, the money to make those memories. Because, that's something, even though the outcome of the game wasn't what we wanted, but, the weekend was definitely an amazing experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, getting into the topic of the game, because obviously it wasn't the outcome we were expecting. It wasn't the outcome some of us were expecting. But I was hopeful that the Raiders were going to pull it off based on what we saw the week before against the Patriots. But, the Chargers, they played their butts off. They took what we gave them. And on the opposite side, we took nothing. We looked horrible out there. Chris, break it down for us, man. Tell us what you saw, like the bad things you saw of the game.
I mean, I think the first thing that just was eye-opening was just we got out-coached. We definitely got out-coached. And again, like I was telling a lot of people, I think it was a benefit for the Chargers to have, in week one, have that first game in Brazil, which was early. And then, they came home and then they had like extra days to kind of rest and prepare, watch us on week one. And you can tell that Chargers team was ready for us. Everything that we had, they had something to combat it for the most part. Specifically, their defense against our offense. I feel like, their defense really they knew what to take away. They really confused Geno. And I feel like Chip Kelly did not do a good job of, making adjustments and counteracting what was done against them. So, yes, that was one of the main things that I noticed, just the coaching. Second, the defense started off playing pretty well, but it was like our offense just could not help. Your very first play of the game, you throw an interception, defense steps up, it holds them to 3 points, which is big. There's a few times the defense stood tall.
Yeah, that was huge.
But yeah, that offense, they just didn't look good at times. Genty didn't look good. At times, the line didn't look good. It was just not a good showing at all on the offensive side of the ball. I hope that we can make some adjustments and get ready for this next game.
That's for sure. Yeah, it was very disappointing. It kind of like right after the very first interception at the beginning of the game, it just took the air out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Even
we
though
were hyped. We were hyped.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, like before the game, everybody was hyped. The pregame show, all that stuff. And there was a lot of Raider fans there. Like we were in the building.
Yeah, I think it was like 80%, 82%, something like that.
Yeah, like we were in the building, man. And like you said, that first interception, it's like it almost took us out of the game instantly, you know?
Yeah. You know, even though the Raider Nation definitely did try to stay in the game, it just seemed that our team couldn't do it. You know, there was any which way they tried. To me, it seemed that they were trying a bit too hard. Yeah. You know, they were trying to make the big plays. You know, they were playing like catch up, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Instead of, you know, trying to move the ball slowly, you know, take what they gave you, dink and dunk, they're just trying to put the ball in a hole this small, man. You know, it wasn't working. And also, it didn't help out that we had some hard-headed Charger fans right behind us, just
nagging,
talking.
Yeah, they're talking crazy. They were talking crazy.
You know, so that didn't help either. But it is definitely, I think, it's early in the season, learning experience. Let's chop it up to I don't know, whatever you believe it to be. But it is early, and remember, it is a marathon, not a sprint. You know, let's hope that our coaching staff learns from this, you know, and takes heed for the next game against Washington. Yeah. Now, Chris, let me ask you, did you see any good things from our team in this game?
I did. You know, there were some players that played well. Like, I honestly got to say, I love our linebacker core for the most part. You know, those guys are flying around. I love what I see from Devin White, Landon Roberts, Jamal Adams. Like, I really like what, you know, Pratt as well, even though he dropped that. Could have been a pick six. That would have been you talking about a play that would have got us back in the game and the fans you ignited. But overall, like I loved the linebacker play, man. Those guys were getting after it. Lulu was getting after it. He played well. You know, I can't say other than that. You know, guys weren't really playing that well, man. It was just like I just felt like we just weren't ready. You know, for that to be, you know, Pete Carroll's birthday and, you know, our home opener and all, like, I thought we was going to be more ready. So, but, you know, I did see a few good things. Like I said, that linebacker core is legit. They are legit for sure.
Yeah. And then Genty showed spurts.
He did.
But the thing is, for a 6th-round draft pick, spurts aren't going to cut it. You know, you need to be ready to go. And obviously it's not all his fault. Offensive line, you know, wasn't opening up the holes for him, you know, so it's definitely a team issue, you know, that hopefully it's corrected, you know, in the next game. What are things that you would have done different, like any type of adjustments that you would have done at halftime like they did against the Patriots?
Well, I don't think Chip Kelly mixed it up enough. You know, I know when we watched, you know, we were breaking down the film, you know, earlier this week, you know, he did a lot of the same like bunch formations and things like that. I would have liked to see him spread it out a little bit, you know, because, you know, when you bunch it up, the defense is kind of bunched up as well.
Right.
But it gives the defense a chance to kind of disguise what they're doing, you know, make it look like they're in coverage and really blitz, like spread it out. And make those guys make the decisions, you know, make them play their role and kind of take them out of base coverages and stuff like that. I would like to see more of that. Like you said with Genty, you know, a lot of people are crying about, hey, give him the ball more, you know, X, Y, and Z. That's easy to say until you go back and watch. Mm-hmm. Again, Genty had some good plays. Like, I think he had a nice spin. I think he ran a guy over, a nice juke here and there. But there was times that Genty missed holes that were there. There were holes. There were cutback lanes that were there. He has to hit. You know, also, the biggest thing that kind of pissed me off about him was his laziness and just not wanting to pass block, you know, his pass protection. And shout out to Severe. Severe always has said one thing about, you know, Chip Kelly. Because, again, Severe is a UCLA fan. So, you know, Chip Kelly was their coach for some time. But, you know, as a running back, there are 2 things that will get you off the field. And that is if you fumble and if you don't pass protect. And that's why we saw Genty on the sideline sometime as well and put Zamir in. because Zamir's a willing blocker, man. Like that one play, like Genty got blew up in the pass protection, and then he just kind of stood there, was walking. I think he fixed his glove while Gino was over here running, trying to get, and then Gino gets clobbered by the guy that Genty should have been trying to block. So stuff like that's not going to get you more carries, man. It's just not.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful that, you know, this is kind of like his wake up to where, you know what, you better produce or you're on the bench. You know, it don't matter what position you were drafted, you know, you're gone.
Yeah.
You know, and then
I mean, give the effort. Like I say, I understand that, you know, you're a running back, you're developing, but you got to give the effort. Just walking around and literally your quarterback got clobbered, and all you had to do was just kind of put an effort just to get in front of that guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Come on, man.
That's it. Just put your mass in front of him, slow him down, you know, give the quarterback a few seconds more.
That's it.
You know, but okay, so that's in the past. And again, Raider Nation, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
For sure.
You know, it's very early in the season. We still have a lot of football to go, you know, and again, give credit where credit is due. The Chargers were a better team. They were better prepared. And obviously, you know, they have a great quarterback. You know, Keenan Allen, man, salute to Keenan Allen. I thought when they picked him up, you know, it was going to be like, oh, okay, this old man just wants to get the money. But no.
He can still play. He can still play, man.
He's got it. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, let's just move forward to week 3. And week 3, what do we got? We got the Washington Commanders at Washington. So it's another away game. And I've been hearing in the news that 35% of the attendees at the Commanders-Raiders game are going to be Raider Nation. So we're still definitely in there. You know, we're definitely still supporting. And that's, I think, very important. You know, we got to let this team know, hey, man, you know, you guys fucked up. We understand that, but we're still here. Just don't do that shit again.
Yeah.
Because well, actually, let me ask you this question. Do you think at this point, based on what they showed us last week, do you think that this upcoming game is a must win?
It is. And I'll tell you why. Just today, it was ruled that Jalen Daniels, there's no way we need to be losing to Marcus Mariota. There's no way. If we're the team that we say we are and that we want to be, you got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Now, granted, Chargers was a better team.
Of course.
Across the board, well coached. The Commanders, they're a good team. They went to the playoffs, but they're missing their star. They're missing their Michael Jordan. You know, we have an opportunity here to bounce back, show we're a tough team. Because the thing is, you lose 2 in a row, you know, that's when, you know, teammates starting to look at each other sideways. And, you know, that's when, you know, anyone that could be a potential cancer in the locker room can start voicing their opinion. Like, I think we got a pretty solid locker room. I don't think we have any real divas in there. But, you know, that's when guys are starting, you know, side-eyeing the coach and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, you never want to go, you know, 2 games in a row. It's tough. It's tough. So, yeah, to me, it needs to be a must-win if we're going to take this Pete Carroll era seriously.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for the fan base, we definitely need this win. For the team, for the motivation, we definitely need this win. And for the coaches, we need this win for them to show us that, you know what, we saw the mistakes that were made and we fixed them.
Yeah.
We definitely have to see that from this game.
No,
let me ask.
Yeah, that's key. Because one thing, like when I was talking to Jason Campbell, just about like his time, you know, during that like 2010, 2011 season, you know, one thing that he said was like, one thing he liked about that team was, you know, if they did come off of a loss, you know, the coaching staff and just the locker room, you know, they were a tough locker room. So like once they got punched in the mouth, they weren't like out for the count. Like they get up and next week they punch someone else in the mouth. And that's what it's about. Like, you know, we've seen so many seasons where we get punched in the mouth and then we just never recover, you know, and it just slides. So like, I want to see us, we took a punch in the mouth on Monday. Let's punch somebody back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the way it should be. So Chris, what do you think the team needs to do play-wise in order to make that change?
So, again, I would like to see more creativity on offense. I don't want to be very, I want to be predictable. I want to keep that defense on skates. They're pretty good at stopping the run, but we can't abandon the run too early. We're going to have to try to keep that defense honest. So I like to see us. But the thing is, when you do the run, our running backs got to produce. Our offensive line got to produce. If we're trying to run the ball and not doing nothing with it, then we can't complain about not running the ball. So, I would just like to see a nice balanced attack. And I would like to see, what Brock Bowers is going to do. We can tell that he wasn't full strength. It was clear he wasn't full strength on Monday.
Yeah, he was definitely hurt.
Yeah. So
but he showed heart though. That's important. He
did. And that's one thing you're always going to give 100. You're going to get 110 from Brock. And that's one thing I love about him. He just lunch pail guy, blue collar, he's going to come to work. So, but hopefully, with a little bit of rest, he can come back 100%. I believe Washington has some issues stopping the tight end position. So if we're going to win that game, it's going to have to probably be through him.
And what about the defense? Because I know Max is always a threat, but like you had mentioned in the past, he hasn't reached that pinnacle yet. He hasn't been that end of the game changer. He's just kind of there, being disruptive, and tackling and sacking. But, do you think because of what happened last week, he's going to have more intensity out on the field?
Yeah, and the thing is, Max is always going to give you maximum effort. He's going to give you a lot of intensity, and that's his superpower. His superpower is just high motor, high effort guy. He's going to give everything he has, but sometimes, like from a technique standpoint, he takes himself out of plays and stuff like that. He'll crash down when maybe he should be setting the edge and things like that. And good coaches can coach against that. They can coach and neutralize that. So, it's just going to be interesting. I expect Max to always just do what he does. So, we have the opportunity to, take advantage of parts of their offensive line. So, I think Max should do a good job. And I want to see those linebackers get after it again. Yes. I love seeing Jamal Adams, running around like a maniac. Devin White is playing out of his mind. This is the best Devin White I've seen since those Buccaneer days. We're going to have to do that. And honestly, we're going to have to, in the defensive backfield, they're going to have to play good coverage and play disciplined football. I'm not too worried about the defense. I think for the most part, I think they can get it together. But overall, we got to put points on the board. That's the name of the game.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we gotta score them points, score them quick, and continue to score. Don't let off the gas.
Yeah.
If we get a lead on the game,
right?
That's something that's always frustrated me about the Raiders is they start playing preventative offense.
Yeah.
They do the goddamn stupid fly. They do the prevent offense, and they're just chilling. And man, they got to keep going. They got to keep going.
Step on their neck, man. Like when we put up that 63 against the Chargers, or whatever we did.
Yes.
Step on their neck, man.
That's what we have to do. That should be our mentality. And if you're not able to do it as a player, get out of the way, because I know there's someone right behind you that has that fire.
Absolutely.
That's ready to do it. But yeah, so what is your expectation for this game against the Commanders? What score do you think is going to be at the end?
I hate when you do this to me, man, because, being a Raider podcast, I know the viewers want to hear a certain thing.
Hey, man, but Chris, we don't drink the Kool-Aid and we're real, brother.
I know. And that's the thing, man. I know a lot of people want to hear me say we're going to come out there and kick their butt and win by 24 points. But, honestly, I'm worried about this game. I really am. Mariota, he's not Jaden Daniels, of course, but he's a guy that can come in a short period of time and move an offense. He's playing for a offensive coordinator that understands his skill set. Until I see more from our running game, man, I'm gonna I have us losing. Unfortunately, I have us losing. I could see the score being, say, 17-10, Washington, and I hate saying it.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. Even though my heart is saying now the Raiders are going to win.
Yeah, we want them
to because of what happened last week. But realistically speaking, without any major adjustments, any major changes, I think it's going to be a similar outcome.
Yeah,
because that running game, it needs to catch fire, and it needs to happen.
Yeah,
that offensive line, they need to either move JPJ back to center, or there's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, they're not gelling, man, and that's what I said early on in the season. I'm like, you keep playing, moving these guys around, putting them in positions that they've never played before or haven't played in a long time. All these other NFL teams, they got their line set and they're doing their installs and they're moving forward. We're over here playing around, trying to shuffle things, and now we're seeing on the field they're not comfortable, they're not gelling, and they're trying to learn on the fly.
Yeah, but I hope we're wrong.
Me too.
I hope that the Raiders pull it off, and because the game after that, it's going to be against the Bears, so that one is also another one that's geared towards our benefit. Yeah, at this point, I'm not really sure, but let's just hope. But yeah, so Raider Nation, keep the faith. Even though we are in tough times, keep the faith. At the end of the day, we're still going to support our team, win, lose, or tie. Chris, are you going to do anything for the game? Are you just going to chill at home? You're going to go somewhere? What you doing for the game?
I'm probably just going to chill at home, just so I can watch the game real closely.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for it, honestly. Like I said, I definitely hope I'm wrong. But this game's going to tell me a lot about kind of the coaching staff and just how that locker room is. Like, how do you handle getting punched in the face? How do you handle a little bit of, adversity and stuff like that? So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for it, especially because I'm gonna go hang out with Mike from Raiders Against the World and Cheeto. They're doing a watch party.
Nice.
In Riverside, and I'm gonna take my son, little Skater Raider, to go do a super fan thing, and go get some content. So it should be fun because win or lose, it's always fun with the Raider Nation.
Oh yeah.
It's always a party. So we're gonna be hanging out this Sunday, or for you guys tomorrow, over in Riverside. If you guys are interested in going, check out my Instagram. I have the flyer posted on there with the address. I forgot the name of the place you're doing it, but it should be fire.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, really quick, summarize to me your experience this past weekend in Vegas, brother.
It was fun, man. It was, honestly, just chilling with my brothers, man. Like chilling with you, chilling with Severe, 805, my boy Cheeto, Turf, just guys that that I'd really consider friends and family. No matter what the score is, those are moments that, you just always cherish, and
yes.
Like I always say that the game is the icing on the cake,
It is.
Because, shout out to my boy Jose. One thing he's always told me, man, it was like, in 10, 15 years, you're not going to remember the scores of these games that you go to, but I'm going to remember that event that we had at Tap and Ash. I'm going to remember Loon's pool part. Like, I'm going to remember those experiences with my brothers, man. So, we made a lot of experiences and memories, and I'm excited for more, but it was just a great time. It was a good vibe. People were happy, friendly, a lot of fellowship, man. So it was fire.
And not to ruin anything, but Protect the Shield podcast is going to be working on something pretty soon. Just stay tuned to Chris, because stuff is coming. Stuff's coming.
That's
all I'm going to say about that. All I'm going to say about that.
Protect the Shield is back, baby. Protect the Shield is back.
But no, this weekend, Chris, it was amazing. Like always, just hanging out with you. It's a blessing, because obviously we talk online, we record this podcast, but it's not the same as being in person and, in interacting in person and, being able to hang out and with all our other brothers and sisters that were in Vegas for the weekend. It was great. The only issue for me was having to do or cover, I think, like 8-9 events in the time span of 4 days.
You were a tank, bro. A tank.
At my age, bro. Can't do that no more.
Woo.
I just can't. I can't.
You were a beast.
Right now it's Friday. We're recording this Friday, and I'm still dragging ass. You know, but you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything. I'd probably do it all over again. I'm probably talking shit right now.
You'll do it again.
Home opener.
You'll do it again.
Goddamn thing, man.
Same old thing. We're running it back.
Oh yeah, but it was definitely a lot of fun, and thanks to everybody that was there, that interacted, that participated in our smoke session at Tap and Ash. Tap and Ash, salute to you guys. Thanks for opening your doors and welcoming the Raider Nation. We had a blast. Hopefully we can do it there again next year through the second annual. And it was just amazing. You know, Raider Crusaders Party, the Black Hole over at Fremont, the TNBC poker tournament, TNBC breakfast. Man, there was just so many things going on. It was amazing, brother. It was amazing. Salute to 805. Salute to Severe. Thanks for coming through, brothers. You know, it was definitely fun hanging out with you guys. You know, hopefully we can do it again for other and more games. And, you know, everybody in the Raider Nation, you know, thank you guys. I will be dropping next week. I'll be dropping the episodes I recorded for the home opener. It's going to be actually 2 episodes because I recorded a lot of stuff. And I don't want to do like a 2-hour freaking episode. So I'm going to be bringing it down to 2. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. Chris, let the Raider Nation know where they can find you, brother, because I know you got fire content coming out with the War Room and for yourself. Yeah,
for sure, man. You guys can check me, Protect the Shield podcast. I'm on basically all platforms, you know, specifically YouTube, of course, and X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. I'll even post on Facebook sometime. But yeah, just definitely check me out, man. You know, I appreciate a lot of people that's already kind of reached out, like to talk ball. I love that stuff, man. And salute to everybody that was just out there that recognized me, wanted to take pictures and, you know, bought me drinks and all that stuff, man. I just absolutely love all that, man. So again, you know, my content isn't for everybody because again, I'm not going to be the guy that's just going to, you know, lie to you. I'm not going to just.
Chris is real.
Yeah, I am, man.
Real.
Period. But I get called a hater sometimes, but it's okay. It's really okay. I'm cool with it. But so I know I'm not for everybody. But the ones that like just objective Raider talk and just, you know, breaking down stuff and, you know, looking at both sides of it, you know, you'll enjoy what I got for you. Every Sunday after the game, I'm with the War Room with Severe and 805. And then we also do like a film breakdown on Wednesday. So a lot of stuff we say is based off of stuff that is on the film, stuff that is, you know, that you can see, that you can verify. It's not me just giving a feeling about something, saying what I'm saying because this is what the film is showing me. So if you like that type of stuff, check me out. And I got a new show coming up that I'm super excited about, you know, just to protect the shield. You know, I'm bringing back like a solo show with a new fire host. And it's something I'm super excited about. And it's, you know me, I'm gonna give you guys fire content.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Definitely. Yeah, so Raider Nation, Chris is definitely going to be out there. He's definitely going to be putting up fire content. So check him out, like, subscribe, follow the War Room, 805, Severe Raider. They also have fire content. As far as for me, I had just dropped an episode of the Stogie Nation. I had done an interview with a cigar company from Esteli, Nicaragua. They're called Every Day is Cigar Day. That episode is out now. Go check it out. Check out the process of actually starting and owning a cigar company. You know, these guys opened their doors to me. We were able to talk cigars, talk the process, you know, so check it out. It's on YouTube. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have a couple of episodes of Raider Nation Roll Call covering the home opening weekend, all the events that we attended, all the events most of the events that happened in Vegas. I try to cover them all for you for the unfortunate Raider Nation family that couldn't go. You know, I was hoping to be your eyes and ears there. So check those episodes out coming up in the near future. And obviously here with us at the Weekly Wire, we're going to be dropping more content on a weekly basis. Going to be shorter now, but it's still going to be pertinent information. So again, Raider Nation, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, follow both Protect the Shield and myself. As remember, everything we do is for the nation, by the nation. Peace. Let's go.